All right, I think we are actually live. Thank you guys so much. Sorry for a couple minutes being delayed here. I'm Braden. I'm one of the founders of Robo. This is live customer interview number 6. I hope you guys have been enjoying these and getting some inspiration from some of our amazing customers all over the world. Today we have someone very special to me because I met her at a show a couple years ago. Super amazing lady. Her name's Shelley. She's a 5th grade teacher in Montana. She's a Google certified educator. She's the Newzella certified educator. She's a Pen Pals Schools Global Ambassador. She is an amazingly positive human being, which is why I like her so much. And she's been using Robo 3Ds for a couple of years now, teaching 3D printing in the classroom, showing these kids some amazing stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her in. I'm going to talk a little bit about her story, talk about some of the stuff she's doing in the classroom. And hopefully, if you guys are educators, hopefully you guys enjoy this. All right, let's get her in here. Shelley, you are live on the screen. Can you hear me? Are you there?
I can. Hello, I'm here.
Yeah, we had some technical difficulties a couple minutes right before we were about to press the live button. So it's good to have you live now. Hopefully people can hear you. I'm going to make sure my social media guy gives me the go-ahead that the sound is good, but let's just keep this thing moving. Shelley, thank you. Thank you so much for taking some time. How's it in Montana right now?
Really cold and snowy. But
nice. I just went out to everyone that's watching. I just went out to Montana. We did a case study video on Shelley talking about some of the stuff she's doing, which is going to launch right after this interview. So we'll put some links up, which is really exciting. But Shelley, go ahead and give the viewers that are watching this now or will watch this an idea of who you are.
all right, I'm Shelley Emslie, and I just want to say, Braden, thank you so much for bringing me along this journey. It has been unbelievable. I teach 5th grade at a rural school, and we have grades K through 8 and only 172 students. I am a Google trainer and do a little more on the side than just 5th grade. And bringing 3D printing has been an unbelievable experience.
Yes, I love it. Can you tell, I know your full story, but for everyone that's watching, can you tell everyone, how did you first hear about 3D printing? Where did this idea even come from that you wanted to get into 3D printing?
I was walking through that massively large expo hall at ISTE 2 years ago in Denver, and I ran into you and the whole Robo crew. And
for
you guys
watching ISTE real quick is an educational show that happens every year. And so that's where we sort of ran into each other. Shelley walked by our booth, so that's what she's referring to.
Yeah. And when I saw the 3D printer, I didn't even know what one was. And I looked at you and said, what is this? How do I get it in my classroom? What do I do? And you're like, oh, well, and then we just started talking, and it just snowballed from there. I knew the second I saw it and the second the potential, what it could bring to my classroom, I needed to have one in my room.
Yeah, one of the things that, when I talked to you and when I went and filmed your story that was just amazing to me is you live in a small town in Montana. You said, obviously the school's very small. The kids are so used to just this small system. And one of the things you talked to me about was how you thought this technology could expand the way they think about the world. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because that was pretty cool hearing your take on that.
Yeah, we live in a 2-stoplight town. And so these kids sometimes get confined to these 4 walls and don't understand what is beyond our 2 stoplights. And this technology already affords them that opportunity. But now you add a 3D printing element into it, and we watch a CNN news story, and they're talking about 3D printing food, and my kids look at me and go, oh, yeah, we do that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's pretty cool. And I got to firsthand see a lot of your kids actually using the machines. It was cool to be a part of that experience. Obviously, you've been doing it for years now. But to actually see these kids, I'm sure you've seen. What has been the experience for the kids? You brought this. So let's go back. You got the 3D printer. You're excited about it. You're I need to get one of these in my classroom. I believe we ended up donating one at that time to you. And then now you have multiple other printers. But when you got in the classroom, how did you learn how to use it? What did you say to the kids?
I really I relied on Jeff and Dean from locally down here in Montana to get me set up for my first calibration circle. That was my first print ever, and I was nice. I was so excited. And, you know, the kids didn't know, I didn't really know the possibilities, and the kids didn't either. So we really learned together. And then the best thing that I could have ever, or that ever happened to me, was a local artist has come in and really been my mentor. And then all of the resources on Robo and the website, and that has truly transformed how my kids even think to use it. So if you're just a regular ed teacher thinking, oh, there's no way, what would you use a 3D printer for? I'm here to tell you, what wouldn't you use it for? No. It's absolutely mind-blowing. And I actually, just the other day, I had a kid who, now you got to brace yourself for this. He, unbeknownst to me, came over, got the IP, and while we were doing our 5-paragraph essays, he opened a new tab, downloaded, uploaded his little Thingiverse, his file he made in Tinkercad, to the printer. Now it's all quiet. We're working on 5-paragraph essays, and all of a sudden I hear the printer going off. And I'm like, what is that? And I'm like, who's printing? And so that's just their mindset now. They don't even wait for me to say, okay, what are we? They just build the files in Tinkercad. They hijack a IP and they send it to the printer when they should be doing something else. Yeah. And we're talking about a 5th grade class here. So a lot of people are even hesitant, thinking it's, you know, too high of technology to even bring into high school. But we're talking about kids, you know, young kids using this technology at a very early age, learning how to design, learning how to 3D print, learning how to build ideas from scratch. So yeah, I mean, it's just an amazing experience. I could totally understand. And obviously you bringing it into your classroom. I mean, were other teachers looking at you like, what is this lady doing? Why is she bringing 3D printing into the classroom? This is never going to work. Yeah, and, completely. Yeah. And even I have this one where I was trying to show it to board members and stuff and get them really excited. And this great guy walks in and he just looks at it and he goes, it's too much. I can't. And he walked away. You know, and then he came back a few more times and he kind of like, oh, okay. And now every open house, every art show we have, I have one out there printing so that people are getting used to seeing these things and what they can do. Yeah. Yeah. How many machines do you have now? You have 6 machines? We have 6. Yes. Okay. So there are 2 R1 pluses, a couple of 2 R2s, C2, and then C2s. Yeah. Nice. Cool. Yeah. So going from the R1 plus to the C2 and the R2, how big of a difference was that? You know, it was a big difference, but at the same time, those R1s are awesome workhorses. They're great. And they teach the kids such a different element of working within matter control and different, whereas the C2 and the R2, they can go straight from the Chromebook. So I like having the variety. Yeah. Tell me about some of the lessons because I know, so we talk to a lot of teachers, right? You know, we're going really heavy into education. We go to educational trade shows all the time. We're talking to teachers, and a lot of them like, what do I do? Where do I start? If I say I bought one today, what would I even do? And we try and explain some of that process. Tell us like how you got started, and then also about some of the lessons that you're actually doing. Yeah. So for me, because this was so new and this whole technology, I mean, it really was uncharted territories, and everything is unprecedented until you do it for the first time. So I was like, the most recent lesson that we did, the kids, we participated in Coral Live 17, and we learned about the coral ecosystems, and we got to do a Google Hangout with bring that up a little higher so we can see. We got to do with a researcher and do a Google Hangout. And then Eric Thorson, the local artist, came in and taught the students how to make their own coral files using Tinkercad. And now we're adding different pieces to this big coral wall, which I keep posting pictures about. It's getting there. And then we just printed this guy. He's my favorite. Oh, yeah, nice. This little turtle. But, you know, the kids find whatever we're studying, they immediately go to, hey, we could print that. And then they design it. Like we're doing a combined project with the library right now, and she's doing the Chinese New Year, and we're in charge of the rooster and the ox. And I said, hey, we need roosters and an ox. And the kids just went into Tinkercad and built it, and now we're printing them. Okay, so they just have this mindset that they can design it. And one of our ox had a little tiny tail, and we needed to help it, so they iterate, they go back and they redesign. And the kids come up with the ideas how to incorporate it.
And we talk about this whole idea of 3D thinking, and I know we throw that around a lot. You might see us posting about it, customers that are watching or fans that are watching, and it really is a mindset shift in kids, and especially from a young age. I mean, this happens a lot when we talk to older people and things like that. But when you talk to kids, and they actually start thinking that if I need to solve a problem, or if I need to create something, or I have an idea, or I see something that is inefficient in the world, whatever it may be, I can now design it because I'm teaching myself these skills, and I can print it because like Shelley has brought 3D printers to my classroom. And so I think it's like you're really helping these kids kind of go to the next level at a really young age. It's only going to get better for them. I mean, how many of your kids are like crazy excited about designing stuff now? I watched them go. I watched kids designing stuff from scratch in your classroom when I was there, and it was such a cool experience to go. Like they get it.
They get it. And the best part is it's those kids that on a state test, I know how they're going to test out. Sadly, it's going to be novice. Okay. They're not going to make a benchmark, but they're sitting in the corner at a Connects pack. They have a Connects pack and they're missing a piece. So they simply go on to Thingiverse, find the piece they needed without telling me or asking me or anything, and walk over and say, I need to print this. And I said, what's it for? And he goes, well, my tractor doesn't work. It needs this piece. And the child would be very disappointed. I can't remember what it was, but like a gear rod or something. I don't know. Yeah. And he printed it. And when he did, it was the wrong size. So I said, what do you need to do? And he goes, well, I have to make it bigger. And I said, okay, go ahead. And then he just adjusted it and made it bigger. And now his little tractor rolls all over our classroom. And that kid took it upon himself. Well, I don't have the piece. I'll just print it. Yeah. It's mind blowing.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, and it is like when you say, these kids, I don't know, may or may not test well or whatever it may be, but they're actually learning life skills and design skills and creative thinking skills. I think that's going to be a more important educational system moving into the world. I think we're going to, even though it's uncomfortable for a lot of people right now, to see, a majority of time being put into that, I think that type of education is going to have, pay much more dividends for students in the future than, just learning out of a textbook. And I remember you said that specific phrase. You said, I grew up, having textbook teachers, and I wanted to change the way my students think and wanted it to be different. And so that was just like a really powerful moment. And you guys, anyone that's watching this or is going to watch this, please check out the video we're going to post about Shelley, because she has some great stuff she talks about in there. And it was just some powerful statements that really show that you're making an impact in these kids' lives. So, that was cool.
It started with you guys.
Yeah, and you guys are a Google Chromebook school, you said, right?
Yeah, we're Google for G Suite for Education School, and we have 74 Chromebooks. Yes. Okay, and so the kids are all designing Tinkercad in the Chromebooks. They're basically sending it to the machine over Wi-Fi. They're printing all sorts of amazing stuff. Yeah, they're going even when they're not supposed to be. Yeah, exactly. Do they? So, go ahead. Well, now we're to a point where we now have to have a system. So we now have an artisan, and the experts are Cindy, Eric, the artist, and myself. And then we have an artisan, and Gabrielle is teaching her apprentice, and then that apprentice has an understudy, and then we have below that a project manager. And so any kid with an idea comes up to the project manager, and the project manager takes it to the artisan. And then those three as a group decide we're printing, because literally kids are coming up to us with, well, I made this file this weekend. I made this file. And I don't have enough hours in a day, in a year to print So it's really cool that it's unprecedented that I have to make a way to print for these kids in a different schedule.
So they're doing this. They're doing this beyond the classroom on their own time.
Oh, yeah, hands down.
Yeah. So it just goes back to reiterate that fact that these kids now are taking this like design thinking like well beyond, like you say, the four walls of the classroom, into their personal lives, into their family lives, into the real world in general. So that's just incredible to kind of hear. And they're starting at 5th grade. These kids are going to remember Shelley, my 5th grade teacher, who brought 3D printing into my life at this age. And hopefully a lot of them go on and do like incredible stuff, which I think is definitely.
I know they will.
I met some of these kids and they are so smart. And they're just excited about being a part of your classroom. And I think the one thing you told me was, if someone wants to bring 3D printing in the classroom, if like educators are going to watch this, pay attention. The one thing you mentioned a lot was like, you have to be the ambassador, right?
Yep. And you have to just know that you're going to get those crazy, oh, we could never do that. Oh, it's too expensive. Oh, it's this. And, oh, they do bad things. But, no, just go for it. Just do it. Have your fail bucket. Iterate in front of the kids. Have misprints. I had a misprint this morning. Oh, well, we fix it. Yeah. And then you go on. And then I have 4 amazing prints. And then the kids take on this ownership. And then like with that design process, they're now applying it to like English. When we're writing essays, they're like, oh, this is like where we would, do the rough draft. That's kind of like making our prototype. And we edit is where we iterate. And I'm like, yes, that's what we're doing. So it transfers over to all your core subjects. So
obviously, we talked about like how the kids are using it. You guys are using Tinkercads. We know about that. You're using Google Chromebooks. The printing is all being done like in the classroom. You have tons of machines. The kids are loving it. You're making coral oceanography. It's teaching across a bunch of different subjects. I know you went on edu.robo3d.com. We have that. And there's Thingiverse education, and there's my STEM kits, and there's all these resources. And so I always am confused at how, like, this is why I want to share with people like the different avenues that they can actually go to find out about 3D printing.
Yeah,
go ahead.
On Twitter chats too, there's some amazing people out there, but I think sometimes teachers are afraid to not know or not have the answers or fail. And I epically fail at 3D printing some days. And then I have beautiful days. And it's so good to see the kids or have the kids see you work through that process and never give up. Because what do we want for our students? We want them to iterate and work through these problems and, have grit and all of that. But if we don't show it and model it, then there's no value in that.
Yeah, it's that design thinking mindset that, that project-based learning. That all that stuff is like the big trend now. And so, Shelley, I know you've like obviously been a huge advocate in that. And the one thing that when I first met you that I really liked, I meet 2 types of people every time I go to shows, every time I speak about 3D printing. The one side is, like, what would I use? They always ask me, what would I use it for? Like, how do I apply it to my life? And then there's the other side, which is like, they just have ideas and they start thinking about it and they're like, oh my God, this could do this, this, and the other. And you were definitely like on that side of just thinking creatively rather than the like restrained by the fact that it's a 3D printer and I need someone to tell me how to use it. And so like you being the ambassador, I think is really important. And I think every school has to have someone like you that can bring 3D printing in, that can be the ambassador, that can learn it. There's a lot of resources out there that can go in and check them out and really just build a small, simple program for your school. And I think it'll start to pick up into more schools.
I hope so, because I think every kid with a Chromebook should have an access to a 3D printer.
Yeah, I agree.
Every kid.
How do you kind of ending this? How do you think that you want to use 3D printing in the future? Have you thought about that, or you just kind of you're rocking it the way it is now?
You know what? We are definitely rocking it the way it is. But I would honestly, like, I know you guys can't see my classroom, but I'm like, I see this whole area that has these just awful old computers right there. And I'm like, okay, if I took all those out and then I did another donors choose and got, 5 more printers, I mean, that's what my mindset is, because it's that valuable in education and every kid opportunity. So I see it as every classroom should have at least a 3D printer. And regardless of what you teach,
I dig
that's where I want to go.
Shelley, you're the best. Thank you for coming on.
You are the best.
Everyone that is going to watch this, if you have any questions, you can comment below and I will answer them. I'll reach out to Shelley if I need to answer them with Shelley's advice. And then also Shelley's case study video, I think right now is live. I got kind of the thumbs up from our team. Is live on YouTube. It's going to be on our social media page. So go check out the story. It's incredible. Shelley has some great information in there. Yeah, so do you want to give me a shout out, Shelley?
To you guys and to Braden, you have been amazing. And all of your guys that at Robo, I'm telling you, educators out there, I have done a lot of work with different researching and 3D printing, and Braden and Robo, they care about education and educators and teachers, and they're there to support you 100%. So I give it the biggest shout out to you guys, because all of this would not be possible without you donating the first one to me. So
of course, I'm glad we have people like you bringing it into the classroom, because I know there's a bright future ahead. There's ambassadors like you out there. So thank you. You are a bright light in Robo's life. So appreciate it. There you go. The Robo 3D printing glasses. All right, Shelley, we will talk to you soon. I'm going to broadcast now. I will reach out if I have any questions, if people ask any questions. Thanks a bunch.
All right. Thanks.
Bye. Bye.